Hi guys, today I'm going to show you to craft Aurabot weapons. There is a lot of different types of weapons that Aurabot can go for. You can either go for a Bloodstain version where you have a really good uptime of val skills. You can go for +2 to Socrates support gems if you want to link enhance in your weapon to get a level 6 enhance linked to your alternate quality auras. And you could go for like a cheaper version which is just avian crafted with the trigger or whatever suffix you want. And you can also go for a double influence version. And this is really expensive and I don't really recommend it since it's really RNG and is not really deterministic. Regardless of which way you want to choose, you have to start on a level 82 base. And the base is a stabilizing scepter and it doesn't need to be influenced at the start. And the first step is to fossil spam to get +1 to all spell skill gems. There's two different ways to do this. You can either use Etheric Corroded Metallic Shattering on a 4-socket resonator and you have 5 tries average. Or if you want to get the Bloodstain mod, you have to still use a 4-socket resonator, but you have to drop one of these fossils for the Bloodstained. And the average goes up to 19 fossils and resonators used. And the combination is Etheric, Corroded, Shattering, and Bloodstained. This is what you want to look for, either +1 with the Val skills or just +1 if you don't care about the Bloodstain mod. And once you have the mods you care about, you want to clean 2 suffixes so we can keep going with the craft. You can do this by splitting your scepter. This is not guaranteed to give you the mod that you want. Like for example, if you split the scepter, you could get +1 on one scepter and the Val skill on the other one. But if you only care about +1 and you don't craft with the Bloodstain mod, you can actually split it safely because the +1 will always go on either of the scepters and there's no bad outcome in this case. You could also suffix to prefix or you can just annul, and you could also prefix cannot be changed and scour if you're going for this version with just the +1. Other good prefixes that you might want to look for is mana. Is like one of the best mods as a prefix because some auras cost a flat amount of mana instead of %, and having a higher mana pool actually makes the reservation way easier on like clarity, precision, and vitality. And once you hit your mods on the Bloodstain version, you want to craft Kenoro Caster mod, which blocks most of the Redeemer mods, and you want to Redeemer Slam. This has a 42% chance of giving you a useful mod. The useful mods are auras from your skills grant damage and hatred effect. And once you hit the mod you want, you can either craft Trigger or you can Veil Trigger. This has a 1 in 3 chance of unveiling, so it's riskier. Or you can just craft an aspect instead if you don't need the trigger. If in case you Redeemer Slam and you hit something like exposure or move speed, which is a bad mod, you're pretty much bricked. I wouldn't recommend crafting it further. You maybe can craft an aspect and sell it, but I wouldn't just spend a lot more money on it. If you don't care about Bloodstain Fossil, the craft is different. Let's say you want +2 as a prefix here. So you want to craft multiple crafted mods with Kenoro Caster like before, but you also want to craft a random prefix so you can block the mod and the Redeemer Slam doesn't slam on the prefix, so that we can later on craft the +2. So that's why we're doing the multi-mod. And once you Redeemer Slam, the chance is the same in every situation. Like it's 42% even in this step like before. This version is the same. And if you hit a bad mod, I would just recommend just crafting something cheap and selling. And if you hit either the auras or the hatred, which are the 2 good mods you can hit, I would just multi-mod, either trigger and support gems, or you can go for an unveil and try to unveil the trigger mod. This is also 1 in 3 like before. And you can just craft an aspect and support instead if you hit the trigger, or just craft whatever you need in your build. And this is the version with the no bloodstain, but you don't really need the +2 support. So instead of doing all of this like multi-mod and block a prefix, we're just gonna just craft a random suffix, or if you already have a suffix, just suffix to prefix once. And now we have 3 prefixes and 0 suffixes. What you're gonna do is, like before, can roll caster mods to block most of the Redeemer suffixes, and then you Redeemer Slam, and you have a 42% chance of hitting a good mod. If you hit a bad mod, you're bricked, and if you hit a good mod, you just finish crafting it with either Trigger, Avian, or whatever is needed in your build. The last version is, if you want to go for a double influence mod, I only recommend going for this if you hit the auras from your skill grant 2% damage to you and your allies, because this mod is lower weight than the Hatred. If you already have the Hatred, getting this mod is really unlikely, so only try to go for this if you on the Redeemer Slam hit this mod and you want to go for Hatred as well. Don't do the opposite. If you have Hatred, don't go for this mod. And if you don't have a full prefix, you want to fleet up by crafting multiple mods, 3 crafted mods, and filling the other suffix. So this tab only blocks the 2 suffixes. Once you block the 2 suffixes that we have, you're gonna slam. Since our suffixes are blocked, the exalt will always exalt a prefix. We only need the prefixes full, so we don't care what mod we get. But if you have mana, it's really good. And once you have your prefixes full, you craft Kenoro caster mods, and you're gonna want to augment influence. This has a 1 in 3 chance of slamming the Hatred effect. And once you slam the Hatred effect, you can just craft Trigger or whatever you want in your build. You can even put an aspect if you want. And in 2 out of 3 chances, it's gonna be a bad mod. So if you're lucky, you get something really good. If you're unlucky, in 2 out of 3, you're just gonna like pretty much have the same scepter as before, but you waste like 20 exalts in the augment influence. And that's pretty much it. Those are all the versions of the Aurabot weapons I could think of. And thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.